no secret that Amazon has to be organized. No one, I think, has the single answer of what to do there, but Teamsters are going to be looking at Amazon and how we can start attacking that and mobilizing public allies for that.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Remind the audience what y'all won in the Teamsters at UPS, and then what the next chapter is going to be, you know, and obviously, you know, be as discreet as you need to be. But you know, generally speaking, you know, what's the plans for Teamsters and TDU after now that you're in the post-ratification era of the Teamsters UPS fight?
Yeah, you know, I see a lot of parallels, even though, of course, you know, the UAW, they have a tentative agreement. I won't say the strike's over until the agreement's ratified, but they had a strike. Teamsters at UPS did not go on strike. We came very close, but got a deal. But I do see a lot of parallels between what was won, just in the sense that it represented like the reversal of decades of concessions, and, you know, really huge, significant, and in some cases record-breaking gains in both cases. So in terms of UPS, Teamsters, a lot of things. I mean, one thing right off the bat, critically important, was the elimination of two-tier between the drivers, which was something that got in the 2018 contract, and that was a big reason why there was this rank and file revolt in the union that wound up electing new leadership. But I mean, as I'm sure your listeners know, I mean, two-tier is poison to a union, causes division. It's not fair. It's also really hard to get out once two tiers in there. Now, in the UAW case, I mean, the tiers have been there longer. So, I mean, they're at the point where they had like 9 tiers, and they got it from like 9 tiers to 3, which is also really significant. And I think in some places they eliminated them. So fortunately with UPS, it was only in there since 2018. It was 1 tier of drivers who got paid less, didn't have the same rights. So we got rid of that. So now all drivers are, you know, regular full-time drivers making the same for the same kind of work. So that was huge. I mean, one thing that was in the news a lot was around air conditioning. It's kind of hard to believe that they did not have air conditioning in the trucks. At UPS, we've had a lot of situations where workers dying of heat stroke due to that. There's now a plan to get in air conditioning over the life of this contract, and it's going to prioritize the hottest places of the country, like Texas, like Arizona, where we've been seeing the biggest issues. Huge gains for part-time wages, the biggest wage gain for part-timers in a very long time, if not actually probably ever at the company. And, you know, part-timers are kind of the unsung heroes of UPS. Everyone knows that they're drivers, you know, delivering your packages, but the vast majority of those workers are in the warehouse and they're part-time. And so huge wage increases for them. Also the creation of more full-time warehouse jobs. So if you don't want to drive a truck, but you want to be full-time, there's more opportunities now as a result of this contract. Some wins over forced overtime, you know, not being able to force people in on their Saturday anymore. In the South, you know, nothing about the UPS contract is straightforward. So the pension system varies by region, but the biggest pension system in UPS is called the IBT UPS plan, which covers 22 states in the South. That got a huge bump in this contract. So now people going for, you know, over $1,000 a month gain in the pension. So over the course of a year, you know, $12,000 more in their pension than in their retirement.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Those are just some things. I could keep going. I'm not going to keep boring people, but it was a really significant, and beyond just what was won, you know, even bigger than that was like it really just re-energized the union. You know, a lot of people saying like I've never seen people as united and as active and as engaged as they were during this contract. So that sets the stage, you know, for the future, which was your second question. And I think there's a lot of elements to it. I mean, one of them is now, you know, there's going to be a focus on actually enforcing this contract, because as you all know, I mean, it's worthless. You can have the best contract in the world, but if you don't enforce it, it doesn't mean anything. So kind of bringing this energy and some of the same tactics we use during a contract fight, stuff like parking lot meetings, or the UAW calls them 10-minute meetings before work. You can kind of adapt that to enforce the contract. So that's one focus. There's also been, it kind of got overshadowed by UPS, but some of the other shops that the Teamsters cover have also kind of had the benefit of this new leadership and reform mindedness in the union. One of them was Cisco, the grocery chain, which Teamsters work as drivers and warehouse workers. About a year ago, there was a coordinated strike that was in Indianapolis, Louisville, and California, where they lined up their contracts and got strike action and then won the best deal that they've had at Cisco in a while. So I think there's a lot of other shops that aren't as high profile as UPS where we can bring the same energy into winning better contracts. And then finally, the elephant in the room is like looking at Amazon. It's no secret that Amazon has to be organized. If we're all being honest, no one, I think, has the single answer of what to do there. But I think, Teamsters are going to be pouring in a lot of resources looking at Amazon and how we can start attacking that and how we can start mobilizing public allies for that. So all these things in one are kind of part of the future, but I think the big key is like we identified a new generation of leaders. People are more energized and excited, and I think the whole trick is now just not letting the contract end and then saying, okay, everyone, now go back to just how it was before. We want to keep this energy and keep the momentum going even in between these contracts.
You talked about some smaller shops that the Teamsters have, and just last week, First Student school bus drivers in Missouri, represented by the Teamsters, ratified a contract where they got a 44% wage increase over 3 years. So really, really big deal there.
Yeah.
And that stands out to me because the Teamsters here locally just unionized the same school bus company in my city, Huntsville City School Bus Drivers, who are contracted out to First Student, just voted to unionize last year, overwhelmingly, like 197 to 6. Something crazy. So I believe they're in contract negotiations right now, and hopefully we'll be seeing something similar for them. But yeah, the Teamsters are one of the biggest unions in the country. I think they represent like a 1.4 million workers or something. So UPS is only 300,000 of those workers. So there's still there's a million more. So there's a lot of workplaces there.
Yeah. And if people don't know, companies like ABF, T-Force, Freight, there's rail Teamsters, a lot of grocery, warehouse, First Student. So yeah, Teamsters are even randomly, kind of like the UAW now has a lot of grad student workers.
Yeah. Teamsters
like campuses like Penn State campus, University of Penn, groundskeeping, housekeeping staff are Teamsters. So, anywhere you look, there's probably going to be Teamsters somewhere.
Yeah, and you're named that because you come together as a team. That's what I heard on New Orleans local news.
Right, exactly. That's definitely where that came from.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.